What's up, everyone? My name is Jackson. I got my main man Russell behind the camera, and these are my fight picks for UFC 200 weekend. As you all know, John Jones kind of shit the bed again, so we're gonna roll with it. We're gonna start with the TUF Finale card. I wanted to do the TUF Finale, but I feel like they're not as well known, and I wanted to start with what I think are the most important fights on that card and have the most ramification. I'm gonna start with Doo Ho Choi and Thiago Tavares. Doo Ho Choi, the Korean Superboy. Out of his 14 wins, 12 of those are by finishes. He's only got one submission. That's an 85% finish rate. Tavares is a good fighter. He's really hit or miss, though. He's obviously done well enough to stay in the UFC at this point. But I do believe Doo Ho Choi is going to finish him in the first round. It's going to be a pretty vicious knockout. I don't know when or how in the first round, but I do know it will be in the first round. It's probably going to be a few minutes. He does like to feel out his opponents. And he is my fighter to watch on this whole weekend. There's so many great fighters, but I think he is the one to watch. I think he could possibly be the next contender to Conor's throne, give him another fight. And I think, he will be up there with the top pretty soon. Moving on, we're going to do Ross Pearson versus Will Brooks. Will Brooks is the ex-Bellator lightweight champion. He did not lose the belt, let's make that clear. He entered that weird free agency period. He was let go by Bellator. Wasn't defending the belt, wasn't getting the fights he wanted. So this is going to be a great fight, in my opinion. I think it could be fight of the night on this whole card. Ross Pearson is a very, very gritty fighter. He dipped in the waters of 145 for a little bit. The weight cut was too much. He had some kidney problems. Just wasn't what he wanted to be. He's doing fairly well at lightweight. He's beat Paul Felder, who I think is really on the rise at this point. Let's be honest. And then we've got, Will Brooks. He's fought Michael Chandler, beat him twice. Michael Chandler, I believe, is probably the best talent outside of the UFC at this point. So he does have some good wins under his belt, but we haven't seen him really tested. I do believe Will Brooks will win this fight, but it's not going to be as easy as everyone thinks. The UFC debut can go wrong for a lot of people. One of the few people I believe that have had a great debut has been Conor. But then again, he hasn't been a huge champion in another promotion. He was a lightweight and featherweight in the other promotion that he was in, but this guy has been in the spotlight a few times. But he's also fighting a lot better fighters at this point in his career. Ross Pearson, I think, will take round one. I think he's going to outstrike him a little bit. Will doesn't know how the UFC works. The crowd's a lot different, more people, and it's the biggest weekend that you could possibly be fighting on for your first fight. Will take over in the second round. It's going to be still close. Third round, it's back and forth. Will is going to win this by a split decision. It could go either way, but I do believe Will win this. Coming up, we got the main event. We got Joanna Jacek and Claudia Gadelha. Both girls Russell and I think are extremely attractive, so we're okay with whoever wins this. Joanna won the last fight. It was, I believe, her second fight or first fight in the UFC. It was a split decision win for Joanna. She knocked down Claudia. I thought she was finished at that point. Claudia also took her down quite a few times. So this fight is really up in the air. Claudia, she can land the takedown, but I do feel Joanna has progressed a little more. She's also been able to fight more. She's had about 2 more fights than Claudia has. Claudia last fought Jessica Aguilar, who was coming over from the World Series of Fighting, which is another promotion, not as good a competition. I do believe ring rust will play a factor in this. It will be a close fight, but not too close. It will be a unanimous win for Joanna. It'll be a 48-47. I do believe there will no longer be any beef between these two. They were friends after the first fight. Why can't they be friends now? They had a lot of shit talking on TUF, but it should be over, and Joanna will win this fight. Unanimous decision. And I also believe she will usher in the 125-pound division later this year. All right, now I've got the good shit. Got UFC 200. Kind of an awkward card right now. Daniel Cormier is supposed to fight. We don't know who. It could be a title fight. It could not be. It could be an open catchweight. I'm going to go ahead and give a prediction on that. I think Daniel Cormier is going to win it because, let's be honest, nobody's going to beat him on 2 days' notice unless it's John Jones, but fuck me, right? We're going to open up with Travis Brown versus Cain Velasquez. Quite the fucking height difference on that. He's 6'6". Cain Velasquez is about 6'1", 6'2", give or take, however you want to put the stats. Everyone always lies. Cain looked like shit his last fight. Let's be completely honest. They call him sea-level Cain now because he shit the bed in Mexico. Got exhausted really quick. Travis Brown, on the other hand, he's dating Ronda Rousey, so we don't know how well he's doing on that front. We saw her striking. I'm not taking any jabs. You're beautiful. Don't hate me. My dad's gonna like this because I think Cane's gonna win this fight. For many reasons. His cardio was absolute shit, like I said, last fight, but he's had more experience. He's fought Junior Dos Santos 3 times, got knocked out 60 seconds. It's all right. We forgive you for that one. He utterly destroyed Dos Santos the next 2 fights. He also defeated Bigfoot twice in that time span. He did lose to Verdum in the infamous Sea Level Cane in Mexico by a submission, but they were both trading shots. It was a pretty even fight. Travis Brown, on the other hand, he fought Matt Mitrione, who's a middle-of-the-pack heavyweight. He's now in Bellator. I think he's pretty good. He's not great, like I said, middle of the pack. It was a foul-filled fight, a lot of eye pokes. Wasn't a very good fight from Travis Brown. He ended up winning by TKO. I don't think he has what it takes other than a puncher's chance, so I do think Cane will grind this out for at least 2 rounds, and then he'll finish up with a TKO. We're going to move on to Aldo versus Edgar. Frank Yeager's my favorite fighter of all time, so I'm not going to be biased on this, even though I just said that. I'm most confused about this fight out of all of them. Aldo got destroyed in 13 seconds. Russell and I watched the pay-per-view. I don't know if it was $60 well spent. Fuck it. So Aldo, we have never seen him coming off a loss. We don't know how he's going to react. Frankie has lost 4 times, all in the UFC, and he's come back wonderful. You know, the Gray Maynard trilogy, that happened. He lost to Benson Henderson, arguably won the second fight. Lost to Aldo. It was competitive, but he obviously lost. I do think Frankie has the momentum going into this fight. He did knock out Chad Mendes in the first round. Chad was also coming off getting the shit kicked out of him from Conor. But I do think he does have the momentum. He's coming off a win, like I said. So it's not going to be a knockout on either end. I do think it will be a hard-fought fight between both of them. I do see Aldo using his leg kicks as always. We saw him knock Edgar down a couple times the last fight they had. I do think Frankie's going to land a few more takedowns. He's going to be a little more dominant on top, and the striking is going to be a little bit faster. So I'm thinking it's going to be about 48-47 unanimous for the new interim featherweight champion. Like I said, it's going to be a tough fight. I will be happy with either decision. Hopefully the winner will fight Conor McGregor in his return after he loses or wins against Nate Diaz. So we will see what happens with that. And the next fight, we've got Miesha Tate versus Amanda Nunes. I think, first off, Miesha will win this fight. I have a multitude of reasons. Amanda Nunes is great. She did lose to Kat Zingano. She actually was beating the shit out of her for about 2 rounds. Kat turned it around. I don't know too much about Amanda. She hasn't fought top-notch competition at this point. She did submit Sarah McMahon, who is an Olympic silver medalist. So that is a feather in her cap, as they say. There's so many unknowns. She could always win this fight. If she does, I do think it would be with her striking, but I don't think she's going to win. Holly, she lasted 5 rounds with Miesha. She was actually getting the better of her. She kind of faltered there in the second. She picked it up, and then she ended up getting submitted. Her ground wasn't too good against Miesha. Miesha won the bantamweight women's title in that fight. It was quite a shock, I think, to all of us. You know, she lost to Ronda, she lost to Kat. Nobody knew where she'd be. She was middle of the pack. I do think this fight will be over fairly quickly. It won't be first round, but I do believe it's going to be a second round TKO from Miesha. It's going to be a pretty back and forth first round. I wouldn't be surprised if Miesha gets rocked a few times in the first, but I'm going to go with Miesha, second round TKO. And next we're going to probably the biggest freak show in the UFC at this point is Brock Lesnar. You know, he's probably on roids, but who gives a shit? And he's fighting Mark Hunt, who was actually going to get bought out by the UFC when he was acquired by them. He's made quite the comeback. He's headlining possibly the biggest fight weekend in history. I do think Brock has a chance. It's obviously in the wrestling department. We know he shrivels up when he gets hit. Kane hit him pretty hard. He obviously finished that fight. Shane Carwin, he destroyed him for about 2 rounds, gassed out. So we do know he cannot take a punch. Also, Alistair Overeem kicked him in the body. He shit his pants, I'm pretty sure. There was no stains on the canvas, but we all know, let's be honest here. That being said, Mark Hunt, his takedown defense is, I believe, extremely underrated. He's a huge guy, but he hasn't been taken down too many times. And when it was against Stipe Miocic, who is now the heavyweight champion. His striking is just ridiculous. He hits guys, walks away, and they're done. He broke Stefan Struve's jaw in 2. See the x-ray on Google. if you know how to use it. Fought Frank Mir last, hit him, walked away as usual. I do think this will be a very, very fast first round. Brock's gonna bull rush him like the Heath Herring fight. And I do think that Mark's gonna catch him with something. He's gonna probably hit him with an uppercut, and Brock will actually go out for the first time in his career. I don't know where that's gonna leave him after this, but hopefully I'm wrong, who knows? But those are my predictions for UFC 200 and the rest of the fights. Thank you very much.